Good afternoon and welcome to the March on-track session for the Middleton Chamber. For those of you I have not met, my name is Kristen Parent and it is our pleasure to be here today to talk about SEO. Just a few housekeeping things. If you guys want to leave yourselves on mute while Tara is speaking, that would be helpful. We do encourage you to have your cameras on though, because it helps to know that you're out there and we're not just talking to blank computer screens. We'll be utilizing chat throughout. So if you have questions for Tara, please chat them in there and then I'll be kind of inserting those as we're going. And then we should have some time at the end again for a Q&A. So I just want to give a shout out to today's sponsors, a huge thank you to TDS and to Amplify Digital for helping us make these programs possible. And I would like to introduce today's speaker. Tara Ingles is the owner of Tingall's Graphic Design. Her company specializes in logo design, sales collateral, website design for small businesses, startups, and nonprofits. In 2020, the company celebrated its 20th year in business and also won the In Business Executive Choice Award for Best Website Developer for the 6th year in a row. And while working with Tingles in 2020, it will still be behind the screen for Zoom, but they're hopeful that the near future to resume in-person meetings and also the occasional spoons game. So Tara, I would love to turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. So if you remember last March, I spoke to the Middleton Chamber, and I had sponsored the event that day, and and then a week later, COVID hit. So I'm gonna just forget that happened, but I'm super excited to be here today and to present on search engine optimization. The tips and things that I'm going to share with you today are things that you should and could probably implement into your business immediately. And I'm hoping that I won't talk too over your head. And if I do, hopefully Kristen will monitor the chat to make sure that I don't. I try to use layman's terms as most I can, but at the very end of the presentation, I'm going to show you a website link where if you want to have a one-on-one with me for 15 minutes and go over your site individually, I'm going to welcome that as an opportunity. So a little bit about Tingall's core services. Like she said, we've been in business for 20 years. We offer logo design, print collateral, packaging, label design. We do website design, search engine optimization, copywriting, all that good stuff. Our target area that we work with is nonprofits. We work with small businesses, startup businesses, and we're also a really great resource for larger companies that want to outsource their business outsource their marketing to lower their overhead. So a couple things that sets us apart. Again, we've been in business for 21 years. We've helped over 1,200 different clients. Our designers get 4 hours of paid professional development every month. So they're always honing their skills and learning new things. We are probably most well known for our 5-day turnaround. So if you start working with us on a Monday, we're going to have a design for you on Friday. It's kind of our claim to fame. And like Kristen said when she read my bio, we've been recognized by In Business Magazine for our 6th year in a row as our best website developer in Madison. So very proud of that, as that's a write-in ballot. So definitely a good testament to networking and top of mind marketing. So, okay, so on page, so search engine optimization in itself is a large toolbox of strategies to help your website be more visible. There's lots of different techniques, lots of different tactics. Some are small and low hanging fruit, and some are month-long, year-long strategies to, again, raise your website in search engine results. So what I'm going to talk about today is what's called on-page SEO, or content-based SEO. As you can see from this little graphic that I grabbed off of the internet, the on-page SEO is going to talk about site performance as far as load speed, the page names, certain text tags, keywords, things like that. We're not going to talk about things like funnel advertising, social bookmarking, other stuff like that. That's actually outside of my wheelhouse. And if you know anybody that does that, let me know, because I have been having a hard time finding a company that would complement my firm in these services. So, that's a little bit of the difference between, or what search engine optimization is from a standpoint of content. So, So what search engine optimization is not? It is not a set it and forget it mentality. It is not overnight results. It's not a quick fix. It's typically not an easy thing. And it's typically not a cheap thing. The stuff I'm going to talk about today kind of is a little bit outside of that scope when it comes to content-based optimization. But in general, search engine optimization is not something that you can just add on to your website, quote, easily. It's not something you buy like a widget or a plugin or anything along those lines. I just want to be very clear because there's a lot of scams. There's a lot of companies out there that are taking advantage of small business owners. And I just want to be very clear that it's just not something that is very easy anymore because of how saturated the website, web market is now. So just buyers beware when you're doing search engine optimization. Work with a reputable company, somebody that either you have a warm referral to or somebody that you know and trust. Because there's, like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on out there. An example of that is that I started working with a company that was paying $2,500 a month to optimize their Google My Business listing, which is essentially an absolutely free service. All they did was they claimed the business listing, they added the hours, they uploaded some photos, and that's all they were doing. And 3 months later, $7,500 in, the business owner kind of had a realization that maybe they were being scammed and kind of reached out to me as a third party. And now they're going to be seeking legal action against this company. So just a lot of stuff, just icky stuff. And it sucks because it makes people in my industry have to work harder to gain confidence and trust. So just again, beware on that. All right. So what is content-based keyword or text-based keyword? So at my firm, it's very simple. We identify the best keywords that people are looking to search for your company for, and we're going to put them in your website where Google's looking for them. Google's very transparent about this. They're very, every year they send out, information that says, hey, we're making these changes to the algorithm, update your site or face the consequences. They're trying to help you with your website to identify these keywords and put them where Google wants them. So everything that I'm going to talk about today is stuff that I have read and been privy to only because they've told us this is where they want the information. It's very plain and simple. There's no black magic. There's nothing, special about what I'm doing, other than, again, just having the know-how and using it in my business on every website that we build. So if you don't focus on your content as well as your design, it's like buying a shiny car with a crappy engine or with no wheels. It's just not going to take you anywhere. So content-based search engine optimization is something that you need to pay attention to when you're buying a website or when you're wanting to optimize your current website. All right, so before I jump into my little six pack, which I like to call, we're going to start with keywords. So how do you find the keywords, right? So it's like if I'm selling, let's say, so the example that I'm going to talk about is a precision design build. It's a new website that we just launched for a contractor that does home remodels, home building and stuff. Very saturated market, right? So what we did with him first was we sat down and we're like, what do you think people are searching for? Are they searching residential remodeler, kitchen remodeler, bathroom remodeler? What is it? Commercial. Maybe he doesn't do commercial remodeling. So we want to make sure we stay away from that. So you have to start somewhere. So you could ask family and friends, clients, staff, what would you search for if you were looking for my business? And, for me, I thought, well, people are looking for my products. They're looking for logo design, website design, etc. But what we found when we did our own keyword research is that people were looking for the service in which we provide those: graphic design, illustration. So for example, if you were looking for someone to do custom cabinetry, maybe you're not looking for custom cabinets, you're looking for carpenter. So again, Google is very literal on what these keywords are, and where you put them is important, but just figuring out what they are, that's something that it's kind of a little bit of a science behind there. But there are some tools that I'm going to talk about on my next slide that you can take advantage of. So brainstorming that, studying, searching results in Google. So when you go to Google and you start typing in your service, you know how it like autofills and tells you, oh, are you looking for this? Take advantage of that and pay attention to that, because there might be some keywords or rephrasing of your company keywords that might be something that you want to pay attention to. Consider long tail key phrases. So instead of carpenter, maybe it's carpenter in Madison, or low cost carpenter, or maple carpenter, or, you know, like maybe it's a special kind of wood that you use, or maybe a special kind of tool that you use. And long tail key phrases are just as important as short key phrases. So keep in mind that there might be a long tail key phrase that you might want to be found for. Check out your competition. You know, you can go to your competitor's website and run some of these tools and see what they're using. If you do the same thing, it's not like you're copying them. If you both do website design, you both do website design. It's not like you're copying them. And then test and measure. So all the stuff that I'm going to talk about today, obviously you can change these and make these changes, but then you should be taking a look at that through Google Analytics or some other tool to make sure that the changes you're making are actually the ones that are reaping the rewards. So like I promised, here are some examples of, in Google alone, even if you don't have Google Analytics, you can actually start typing in, you know, home renovation. And then, you know, as you can see here, it's like home renovation contractors near me, or, you know, home remodeling, and it's autofilling. And then also at the bottom of Google, it's like, here are searches related to home renovation. Same sort of thing where you can find some other keywords. These are three here that are free. Google's Keyword Planner is free, and that's in Google Analytics. Keywordtool.io is another one. And some of these are free for a certain number of searches, or they're free trials, and then you got to pay for it. So, you know, you can take advantage of them. And then SEMrush is a paid tool, but there is a free trial on that. SEMrush is a really, really great keyword tool, but there is a slight fee for that. So maybe take advantage of the trial, take advantage of it as much as you can. And then and there's some others. If you know of other ones and you're on the call, drop it in the chat, because, you know, let's all reap rewards from this. All right, so Tingall's 6-pack is, again, it's a way for you to take these keywords once you got them, put them in your site where Google's looking for them. So the first is, hopefully you've taken advantage of your actual page name. So I don't know if you can see this, it might be a little small. And again, you can zoom in on this, or we can also, I think it's being recorded, and I will also share my slides with you if you want to take a look at them, but I'll read it out to you too. So it's precisiondesignbuildinc.com/home-remodeling-services. So obviously home remodeling, we're targeting that particular keyword, and we're not even putting the word Madison in there, because if you're searching in Madison, Google already knows you're in Madison. So we don't need that keyword in that title. But instead of having, what I see a lot is people have the word services there. Services is way too broad of a word for Google to have any context of what services are appearing on that page. So again, like putting in home remodeling services, or, you know, like I see Kiva on the call, you know, kids camp, summer camp, you know, services, or something, you know, along those lines, instead of just camps or something like that. So that's the title tag, and think of the title, or that's the page URL. So think of the page URL as also, there is going to be a search result factor for the page URL as well. And I'm going to show you in a minute, but just don't, this is one of the most influential places to have a keyword, and Google pays attention to this. All right, second one is your title tag. So, you know, when you go to the library and you're skimming through books and you're kind of looking sideways and you're like looking for good titles, that's what Google does too. So you want your title tag of the page. And remember, these are page specific. So this is not something that you set it on your one website and you do it for the whole website. You want these to be the individual different title tags and page URLs for each service and page of your website. So the title tag, again, it should have a keyword. So this one, for example, is home renovation, because again, that's our top keyword for this particular page and his homepage as well. So home renovation, you know, and then we call it the stick. It's right above under the delete key. And so you use the stick as sort of a pause or a break between your keywords. It counts as your characters, but it's just a nice way to break that up. So, so the name of your page, and then including anything that's specific like home renovation. You could put your location in there if you want, but the title tag, I believe it's the first 63 characters that are the most important. It might be even less than that, but you don't want to put your business name there, because people might not necessarily be searching for your business name, they're searching for your service. So put your keyword there and then your business name after that. All right. So here's this little bonus thing I wanted to show you. So this is an example of what the search engine results showed for that page I just talked about. So you've got Precision Design Build Inc.com, Precision Design Build. Here's your title tag here. And then here is something called the meta description. So some website builders have search engine optimization tools already built in. If you've got a WordPress site, I'd recommend the plugin Yoast SEO. That's a great one because you can put in a targeted keyword and then it gives you a really cute green light, yellow light, red light indicator to know whether or not you're doing well on that page. So if you don't put a meta description in your website, Google will automatically just choose the first sentence of your page, which may or may not be the salesy type message you want when you're describing this, this page to your users. So while I don't think or don't believe that the meta description has any search engine optimization value, it certainly can't hurt. So again, having a more salesy message in there, like click this page to learn more about XYZ, that kind of thing. Okay, so headlines we're going to get into a little bit of some code here when it comes to website building. But again, HTML is HTML. All websites are built with, basic HTML and PHP functionality of the website. And the H1 or the headline of your page is the most weight when it comes to keyword as far as your content or your body copy on your website. So your H1 is going to be your most important, and then your H2, 3, 4, etc. all kind of they all have a similar billing when it comes to like points, I guess, for keywords. So you want a keyword in your headline. So again, here, instead of saying services or welcome to my business, it should be home renovation, and then he's even got his business name in there. Every home renovation deserves a precision design build. So kudos to him for picking a really cool business name because it's got, design build in it too. Again, H1s are counted the most. And then again, H2s, H3s. And one way that you can look at this is actually whatever browser you're in, you can look at source code of your website and see what your H1s and H2s are. Every website has the ability to look for source code. So if you don't know how to do that, I can show that at the end of the presentation, but you should be able to Google it if you can't figure it out. Ooh, I can see the chat now. That's weird. Did someone chat?
We did. We had a question come through to see if we're recording, and we are recording, and everyone that's attending will get an email from me after today, which will include the recording, Tara slides, and a list of everyone that attended in case you want to network later.
Awesome sauce. All right, cool. I was just like, yeah, I can see the chat. All right. All right. So that's H1s or headline tags. Links. So instead of having the words click here for more, why not put some key words in there? Because when you follow that link, Google's going to give you a point for that. So, here in this example, instead of click here for a home renovation or click here to see more, we're actually using the words a home renovation in the link. This is really common at the end of paragraphs when people want to link to other services or link to your contact page. Again, if you make it, you click here for a full list of our logo design services or website design services or home remodeling, whatever that is. That's a really common one that I feel like gets overlooked a lot. Number 5. Okay, so 5 and 6 go hand in hand as probably the most common bad website designer mistakes that I find in websites when we get asked to do audits, because it's so easy to just download a stock image or download a picture from your phone and upload it to your website. But I'm going to tell you, it's worth it to label these images correctly. So here's an example. This photo, this is an illustration. I guess probably a little bit better to show the photo below. But, this photo, when it was taken with a phone, was called DCSO493.jpg, right? Just like all photos are on your phone, or when you download them from a stock site. So take that file name and change it to put your keywords in it: home remodel, precision design build, or whatever makes sense. So naming the file, this is really, really often overlooked. So naming the image before you uploaded it into your website is really important. In tandem with that, the Association for Disability, American Disabilities Act basically said that, and Google agreed, that websites that don't name their image or label their images properly, they're going to start demoting your website in search results because of that. Now, again, this particular search engine optimization piece is only one of like 200 pieces in their algorithm, and Google has got the shades closed on about 150 of them. So again, like, it's not the end all be all, but it's important for you to label that photo so that if somebody's reading your website or looking at it and they have a vision impairment, it's going to be read to them. So again, alternate image text tags for that photo in this example would be custom staircase precision design build, or whatever it is to describe the photo. If it's a headshot, put your name on there. If someone Google searches you and they see your image pop up, they're like, oh yeah, I saw her on a Zoom meeting. That's right. She looks familiar. Instead of it being on a phone selfie, which is DCO whatever, which is never going to come up. So, you want to make it, I don't know, I heard this, that it's 12 words or less. I heard that in a different presentation, that the first 12 words get read. So that's a lot of words, actually. I would say keep your keywords in the front end of that again, but you don't want to make it sound silly or non-conversational so that it makes sense for that ADA compliance. And I actually have a website link that we run all of our websites through. And again, I'm afraid to touch anything on my slides, so I will try to put it in the chat when we're done, because I'm afraid if I remove and go to a browser, but I'll let you know what that is. But we run all of our websites through ADA compliance. And of course, like every website, it's very hard to have 100% compliance with ADA. But there are some red flags that you can fix with your website to be at least somewhat compliant with that. And your work, your industry may or may not even need to be ADA compliance, but certainly some people do. Okay, so here's why it's important, again, as I was saying, for Google image results. So custom cabinets, Madison, Wisconsin, is the alternate text tag for this particular image that showed up when I searched custom cabinets, Madison, Wisconsin. So again, and then if you click on that image, what happens? It takes you to the website. So again, alternate text tags are important, and every website browser or builder should have the ability to add those in there. If they don't, try to find a plugin or try to find a different way to add the HTML in there so that you can categorize those correctly. And Pinterest is another reason, especially if you're in any kind of home improvement category, people are posting those images and they're tagging them and putting them on their pins, and they're showing that to the builder later, and etc. So it's just another great way and another great resource.
Okay, hey, Tara, we did have one question come in about labeling images. So it says, if you have a lot of images for the same project, would you avoid numbering them? For example, Design Jones House 1, design staircase design House 2.
I would just try to, so for example, for that, if let's say you're a house builder and you built the whole house and you want to put your name in there, like Jones Designs, or Jones House or something. So I would do Jones House Kitchen Cabinet Design, kitchen island design, or something like that, to give it enough. I wouldn't use a numbering system, because if all the photos are just 1 through 12 and all the front end of that is all the same, I don't think that's really any keyword that's not really enhancing the keywords. It's getting your company name in there or the kitchen name or whatever. But I would say try to make them more unique than that if you can. And just, again, describe it, because you're describing it to someone who can't see it. So if it's a, Jones House 1, Joan House 2, and they're trying to visualize like, oh, that's a custom cabinet with soft close cabinets, or, something like that. That's not going to be a good descriptor. I would avoid that. I mean, I guess if you're going to do anything, try to label it with something other than DCO 569 or whatever. So
would you be better off even to do like kitchen island, Jones design, and then cabinet, closed cabinet, Jones design, like to start with that differentiator and then add your company? Okay.
Yeah. And use dashes between words, but instead of underscores. That's, again, like if you, home renovation, home dash renovation would be what I would do that. A couple other search engine optimization related things I'd be remiss not to touch on is to make sure that your site has an SSL, which is a secure certificate. Like about 2 years ago, Google came out and said, hey, we want websites to be secure for our users. So we want you to have a secure certificate on that. It used to be that you only needed to have an SSL if you were running credit card transactions or having forms on your website. But now they want that in there. So if you have a Squarespace site, it automatically puts it on there. If you have a WordPress site, it's very inexpensive. Don't let anybody charge you more than like $150 or $200 for a lifetime SSL. You should not be being charged annually for that anymore. People, it's a one-time registration for the domain of your website. If you're not mobile friendly, oh boy, you got to get mobile friendly, because you're probably already on page 29 of Google search results on phones right now. And, that's something that you can test if you, again, it's another link I can throw in the chat to see if you're mobile friendly, but just pull up your website on your phone. If you have a little hamburger menu, which is those like 3 little lines on your website, I call it the hamburger because that's just easy. If you have that little hamburger menu, then your site is mobile friendly. XML sitemaps. We stopped doing this a while back, but now we're finding that Google wants these. And so if you just Google XML sitemap creator, basically what it does is it indexes every website page on your website and then hands Google a TXT document, a text document that says, hey, here's all the website pages, so that Google can just read that document, quickly skim that, read it. I mean, I don't know for sure if this is exactly what it does. I'm not a Google bot, or I don't work for Google, but I've been told that XML sitemaps, again, enhance search engine optimization, and probably too will get your website ranked faster than if you didn't have one, if it's a new website. If you don't have a blog or a newsroom or something like that, get a blog. I've got a really great blog on my website that is, if you go and just do a search for keyword blog topics, it's like 13 blog topics that you can write about today. And, think about it, as far as breaking your company down to its simplest pieces of how you're unique in the market. What are frequently asked questions that people ask about your company or business constantly? You could write an entire blog article on how you do your payment terms, or what is your refund policy, or the history of the owner, whatever. Blogs are a really, really great way to add content on a regular basis to your website, thus increasing your credibility with Google. So, again, I also have an ebook that I can get you if you send me an email or put it in the chat, that is how to write a blog and put keywords in a blog where Google wants them too. So, it's not enough to just do the blog. You got to write it effectively. Most of it's like putting a keyword in the title, putting a keyword in your featured image, stuff like that. But don't be afraid of that. Blogs can be super conversational. They can be really social. They should have some structure to them and be proofread and check for grammar and stuff. But to me, a blog can be written by anybody in your company, that can be a contributor to that. And then the last thing is optimizing your images for load speed. Again, when you download a stock image, those are super high resolution images and could be up to 6 megabytes in size. You only really need an image to be about 400K when you're uploading it. So, use something like Photo Deluxe or Canva or something like that to reduce the size of that image before you're uploading it. And it will significantly increase your page speed when it's downloading, especially on a phone. All right, those are my tips, folks. I hope you got one or two little nuggets you can apply. Like I said, I had a free offer here. If anyone wants to do a 15-minute Zoom consult with me, go to meetingwithtara.com and you can pick a date and time that works on your calendar. I'm more than happy to pull up your website and give you as much free advice as I can in 15 minutes. And then we can kind of go from there. So what questions do we have?
So we do have a question from Carrie. Carrie, do you want to take yourself off of mute and ask that one to Tara about starting your website over for SEO?
Okay. Basically, I'm asking, are you starting over with SEO anytime you make major revisions to your website, or if you like switch what platform you're using to build your website?
Okay, yeah, it's a great question. Yes and no. So yes, if you don't do anything to tell Google, hey, this is my new website, then yes, it will have search engine optimization impact. But you should Google how to set up a 301 redirect. So whenever we design a website and we change platforms, typically the extension of the website per page changes, right? So like if it's a PHP site, it might be tingles.com/tips.php. And then if you change to Squarespace or WordPress, that .php drops off. You need to tell Google, hey, this old page is now this page. And when you upload that URL redirect, a 301 redirect to wherever you're hosting your website, it basically just gives, the crawler, the web crawler, a roadmap to the new website. And if you do that, any search engine optimization value that the old website had will port over to the new website.
Okay, thank you.
So, and a little note of advice, when you're about to flip the switch and make the new site live, make sure you set an alarm or something that you make a list of all your old pages before you flip the switch. Because once you flip the switch, your other website goes offline and then you don't have that list anymore. And I can't tell you how many times that's happened. So do that. So again, you just go up to you browse for your website and then you make a list of all the pages in your site, about services, testimonials, whatever it is, and then put the old link there. And then when you launch the new website, you put the new website link. And then if you Google search how to do a URL 301 redirect, whatever platform you're in, you should find directions on how to do that. Squarespace, it's super easy to do it.
Okay, thank you.
It looks like we had a lot of people interested in the blog information that you mentioned. So maybe Tara, if you want to shoot me that in an email, and then I'll include it in the follow-up email to everyone that after today. And one other question in there, would you consider using newsletters instead of a blog?
Oh, sorry, you probably need that last slide up.
That's okay. No, you're good.
So newsletters. Okay, so newsletters, like you're talking like email newsletters, like HTML newsletters, like constant contact newsletters, something like that.
MailChimp.
Yeah, MailChimp. Okay. So yes, so what I recommend for email newsletters is that you design a newsletter that is a teaser that will get people to go to your website. So if you write a blog and you put it on your website, your email teaser would be, here's the first paragraph of our blog, click here to read more. And then the click here goes to your website. And then they're on your website, they're reading it there. So newsletters are a great way to push your blog content out to your users in addition to social media channels and that kind of thing. But I wouldn't put the whole newsletter on the email because it doesn't give you really that much reporting on whether or not people read it or were interested in it. Does that make sense?
I think so. I mean, I guess one of the things I wanted to share is would it ever be beneficial to have, if you have your website, instead of having a blog tab, could you have a newsletter tab or what's new, and you'd have all of the past newsletters there, or is that sort of not, okay.
Yes, one caveat to a downloadable PDF newsletter is you need to make sure that PDF is crawlable by search engines. Otherwise, the content in that PDF can't be read. you know, when you do a Google search, if you're looking for something and sometimes the link says ABC guide and then in brackets it says PDF, your website has to be crawlable in order for Google to read that and rank it. So my recommendation is not to attach a PDF. It's to take that content and copy and paste that into a blog, or, you know, because again, the more pages in your site and the keywords that you get, the better it is. So, and I just think it's better for the user, right? If someone's on their phone and they're trying to get information about you and they download a PDF, I don't know if phones can even see that or if it opens it on a phone. I don't know. I would just say make it readable right in the website, versus having like a downloadable PDF would be my one caveat there. So.
Does that seem lazy to do that? Like, I'm just trying to make life easy because I'm like, I feel like sometimes writing a newsletter is like writing my PhD. And I am like, is that lazy to just take that same content and put it as like, what's new? Or do you really recommend kind of rephrasing it as a blog? No, okay.
I don't think it's lazy at all. I mean, the news, like I said, the newsletter should be a teaser of what you're wanting people to read on your website. So my rule of thumb on email marketing is no more than 3 article teasers, or, you know, and again, the email should be informational and not salesy for people to stay interested in stuff, but write your newsletter on your blog and then use the email function to send them that paragraph intro and then get them to go to the website, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm happy again, if you want to set up a time to chat, I can look at your website specific.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just going to plug these couple of things, and then Tara, let's go back to that slide that has your info on it. So upcoming chamber events next week, Wednesday, we do have Dr. Anthony coming from Urban League to talk about the business hub that they're building on the south side of Madison, which I think is going to be really important for the community. So we'd love to have you guys there. And we're also doing our networking blitz, which is our one-on-one video conferencing networking on March 23rd at 3 p.m. So you can sign up for both of those through the Chamber's website. Huge thank you to TDS, Amplified, and especially to Tara for all of her time and knowledge in this. So Tara, if you want to flip back to your other slide, I think people want to take down your info again.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's pretty easy. Meetingwithtara.com.
Looks like another question popped in. Can you talk more about the lifetime SSL? We've always done our SSL through Namecheap, and I don't remember ever seeing that option. Are there vendors you recommend for those? Yeah,
so when we build our websites, we use a service called Let's Encrypt Lifetime SSL, and it's $150, I think. That's the service. So my IT firm manages that on our server for us. So I don't know I would just look for that name, I guess, if I don't know much about Namecheap. But I just know that we used to have to bill annually for it. It was a registration, just like a domain. You had to renew it, but then we started using this Lifetime Encrypt and it was a one-time fee. So, hey, if you can save money, right? I don't know. Well, cool. Well, happy to answer any questions you have and stay on a little later if you want, but I'll let people get on their way. I appreciate the opportunity to share some knowledge with you, and hopefully you got 1 or 2 nuggets that you can take away and implement into your business. So